jaguar is a big cat, a feline in the Panthera genus, and is the one cat of that genus found in the Americas. On our planet, only the tiger and the lion are cats larger than the jaguar, and in the Western Hemisphere the jaguar is the largest. The jaguar can be found in the southwestern United States and Mexico, as well as across most of Central America. Its range continues well into South America as far as Paraguay and northern Argentina. It seems that for now the show is over with this female jaguar. The red-crested cardinal gets its common name from its red head and prominent crest. Native to northern Argentina, Bolivia, southern Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay, the red-crested cardinal has been introduced to various regions of the world, notably including Hawaii. The black-and-white Tegu, also called the Giant Tegu, is the largest species of Tegu lizard. They are an omnivorous species which inhabits the tropical rainforests, savannas, and semi-deserts of East and Central South America. Tegus have unusually high intelligence and can also be housebroken. Tegus fill ecological niches similar to those of monitor lizards and are an example of convergent evolution. The Roseate Spoonbill is one of 6 species of spoonbills in the world, and the only one found in the Americas. The other 5 spoonbills, the Eurasian, Royal, African, black-faced, and yellow-billed, occur in Asia, Africa, Europe, and Australia. The Roadside Hawk, which is found from northern Mexico south to Argentina, is one of the most widespread raptors of the Neotropics. This species shows considerable geographic variation across its wide distribution, with 12 currently recognized subspecies. The world's largest rodent, the capybara, can attain weights in excess of 150 pounds. It is an important prey item of the jaguar. The larger individual seen here is a male, which is readily identified by the large scent gland atop his nose. And here we see a Yacare Caiman. This crocodilian occurs extensively throughout the Pantanal, but it must be careful because it is not the top predator. Indeed, the top predator is the jaguar, and jaguar regularly kill and eat Yacare Caiman. He noted that the jaguar can be found in the southwestern United States and Mexico. However, only a small number of jaguars have been seen in New Mexico, Arizona, southeast of Tucson, and Texas. But other than those few, since the early 20th century, the cat is mostly no longer found in the United States. Jaguars have been listed as a near-threatened species by the IUCN. In physical appearance, the jaguar is covered in rosettes for camouflage in the dappled light of its forest habitat. The spots vary over individual coats and between individual jaguars. Rosettes may include one or several dots, and the shapes of the dots vary. The spots on the head and neck are generally solid, as are those of the tail, where they may merge to form a band. Physically, with its spotted coat, the jaguar resembles the leopard, except that it is larger, stronger, and more muscular. Its fur is normally yellow and tan, but the color can vary from reddish-brown to black. A near-black melanin pigmented form occurs regularly. Jaguars with melanism, dark pigmentation of the fur, appear entirely black, although their spots are still visible on close examination. On all jaguars, the spots on the coat are more solid and black on the head and neck and become larger rosette-shaped patterns along the sides and back of the body. Lions, tigers, leopards, and jaguars are the only cats that can roar. The sound is produced by a specialized larynx and flexible bone in its throat that can be used to stake territory, communicate generally, or express anger. The jaguar prefers life in a dense rainforest, but will also live across open terrains, deciduous forests, swamps, pampas grasslands, and mountain scrub areas. Jaguars love the water and will bathe and swim, play and hunt to catch fish in pools or creeks. Once old enough to leave its mother, which is about 12 to 24 months, a jaguar tends to live a solitary life as an adult, comfortable mostly on its own. Typical lifespan in the wild is estimated at around 12 to 15 years. In captivity, the jaguar lives up to 23 years, placing it among the longest-lived cats. And here we encounter for the first time the giant otter. This is a brief encounter. We'll discuss this species more later when we have subsequent, longer sightings. The capybara is a large, semi-aquatic rodent that is found inhabiting the waterlogged regions of Central and South America. Closely related to other South American rodents, such as chinchillas and guinea pigs, the capybara is the largest rodent in the world, weighing up to in excess of 150 pounds and measuring nearly 4.5 feet long. Despite their enormous size, these mammals have adapted well to life in the water and have a number of distinctive characteristics that aid their amphibious lifestyle, including the webbed skin between their toes, which is particularly helpful when swimming. Interestingly enough, the common name of the capybara is thought to mean master of the grasses, while its scientific name comes from the Greek word for water hog. The capybara is a heavy, stocky-looking animal with a short head and muzzle in comparison to its body and hardly any tail at all. They have short but sturdy limbs and hoof-like claws on their toes, which, along with the webbing, helps the capybara both when negotiating the slippery banks and keeping the animal from sinking into the underlying mud. Their coarse, short fur is pale to dark brown in color, with varying tinges of yellow, red, and gray, and is perfectly designed to dry out quickly once the capybara is back on land. One of the capybara's most distinctive features is the fact that their eyes, ears, and nostrils are all positioned on top of its head, meaning that they will have excellent sight, sound, and smell while in the water. The placement of these features also means that when threatened, the capybara can retreat into the water, only leaving these parts of its body exposed to potential predators. The capybara is found throughout a variety of habitats in Central and South America, providing that there is constant source of standing fresh water. They are found in Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, and Peru, down through Brazil and Paraguay, and into northern Argentina and Uruguay, where they are most commonly found in swamps, marshes, rivers, and lakes. The capybara can be found inhabiting grassy plains and even in rainforests, where they occupy territories in herds, with these areas reported to be adequate territories year-round, even with the differing seasons. During the dry season, the capybara must have water and areas where they are able to feed, often small sandbars in the water. But in the wet season, when the area floods, they must still be able to graze, which they often do on grassy banks. The capybara is a very sociable animal that tends to inhabit densely vegetated areas close to water in herds of around 20 individuals, which are usually made up of a dominant male with a number of females and their young. Capybara herds occupy very stable home ranges that are known to vary in size depending on the size of the herd to ensure that there is enough food, and although small parts of their territory may overlap those of another herd, intruders will be chased off of a herd's patch. The capybara actually sleeps very little, preferring instead to doze while resting during the morning in thickets on the banks, or wallowing in the mud and water when cooling down in the heat of the midday sun. They begin to emerge onto land in the early evening when they graze on grasses and aquatic plants, which the capybara will continue to do throughout most of the night. The buff-necked ibis is one of the most widespread species of ibis in South America. It occurs in a wide variety of open habitats, such as savanna, ranchland, and open forest, but is notable for often being found far from water. Obviously, that's not the case here. It is one of the most distinctive large waders in South America, having a bright buffy head and neck, gray back, white primaries and secondaries, and black underparts. The Neotropic Cormorant is the only cormorant known to plunge dive into water to catch fish. Unlike gannets and boobies, it does not dive from great heights, restricting its dives to less than half a meter, 1.75 feet. It is not particularly successful with this technique, catching a fish in only 1 out of every 6 to 10 plunge dives. The Amazon kingfisher here is seen in its most common roosting position. That is, on a limb overlooking water where it can catch fish. In a capybara herd, it is only the dominant male that has breeding rights to the females, and although it can occur all year round depending on the conditions, the breeding season tends to be during the rains in April and May. After a gestation period that lasts for around 5 months, a female capybara gives birth to between 1 and 8 pups on land. Being very well developed, capybara young are able to run, swim, and dive within hours of birth. The Cocoi Heron is similar in appearance and closely related to the great blue heron of Central and North America, but it is much whiter and can be distinguished by the completely black cap, the white rather than gray neck, and white rather than chestnut thighs and wing edges. The great egret is a large, widely distributed egret with 4 subspecies found in Asia, Africa, the Americas, and southern Europe. And here we again encounter a group of giant otters. The giant otter, known through much of its range as the river wolf, is one of South America's top carnivores and is the largest of the otter species in terms of total length. The muscular, sinuous body is covered with velvety brown fur, which is dense and water repellent. A patch of cream coloring is present on the throat and chin, the pattern of which is unique to each individual from birth. The giant otter has short legs and large webbed feet which, along with the wing-like tail, allow the otter to move quickly through the water. The movement of prey is detected by the large eyes and sensitive whiskers. The size characteristics of the giant otter are as follows. Males attain a length of about 1.5 to 1.8 meters. That's up to 5.7 feet long. Females are slightly shorter at 1.5 to 1.7 meters. Male weight is about 26 to 32 kilograms, while female weight about 22 to 26 kilograms. That comes to a maximum weight for males of just about over 70 pounds and females around a maximum weight of 57 pounds. The giant otter generally lives in family groups of 3 to 10 individuals, composed of a monogamous breeding pair and their offspring, born during previous years. These groups rest, play, travel, fish, and sleep together. Members of the group use communal latrines, where they rub their feces and urine into the earth with their paws in order to advertise the group's residency. Breeding can take place throughout the year, although most young are born during the dry season. Litter size varies from 1 to 6 cubs, following a 64 to 72 day gestation. The new cubs are cared for by both the adults and older siblings. At 2 to 3 weeks, the cubs are put in the water by the female, and at 3 to 4 months, the cubs begin hunting and traveling with the family. The young are weaned at 6 months, and are efficient hunters by the age of 10 months, although they remain with the family group for at least another year. Sexual maturity is attained by age 2.5 years, after which many young adults disperse. This snail kite female is seen enthusiastically feasting on a crab that it has caught. The boat-billed heron, known as the boatbill, is an atypical member of the heron family. It lives in mangrove swamps from Mexico to Peru and Brazil. The Anhinga is seen here drying its wings. The remarkable bill of the black skimmer sets it apart from all other American birds. The large red and black bill is knife-thin, and the lower mandible is longer than the upper. The bird drags the lower bill through the water as it flies, hoping to catch small fish. The black skimmer is the only American representative of the skimmer family. The other two rather similar species are the African skimmer and the Indian skimmer. All use the same usual feeding method. Although the black skimmer is active throughout the day, it is largely crepuscular, active in the dawn and dusk. Its use of touch to catch fish lets it be successful in low light or darkness. At hatching, the two mandibles of a young black skimmer are of equal length, but by fledging at 4 weeks, the lower mandible is already nearly 1 centimeter longer than the upper. That's about almost 1/2 an inch longer for the lower mandible. The giant otter is diurnal, although highly adapted to its amphibious lifestyle, and despite its clumsy appearance on land, giant otters may travel several hundreds of meters between areas of water. The diet is composed almost exclusively of fish, but it is also known to eat caimans, anacondas, other snakes, and even the occasional turtle. The giant otter is endemic to South America except Chile, east of the Andes mountain chain. Currently, it is almost or completely absent from Argentina and Uruguay, and very rare in Paraguay. The giant otter is seen within the Orinoco, Amazon, and La Plata river systems. The giant otter is found in slow-moving rivers and streams, lakes, swamps, and marshes, and during the rainy season, flooded forest. Key factors influencing giant otter habitat preference are the presence of non-floodable banks with vegetation cover and easy access to hunting areas with an abundance of vulnerable prey in relatively shallow waters. The southern screamer is one of 3 species of screamers. It is endemic to South America. It occurs in subtropical to tropical wetlands and marshes and can be found in crop fields. The southern screamer is herbivorous, with a diet of aquatic plants, seeds, and other vegetation. This species is well known for its loud and harsh vocalization during flight. This is a large-bodied bird with stout tarsi and toes and a relatively short, chicken-like bill. The rear crown has a crest, usually recumbent, of elongated pointed feathers. Head and upper parts are gray. Unlike other members of the bird order Anseriformes, screamers molt gradually. They do not have a flightless period during their molt. Note the strong and steady wing beats of the Cocoi Heron as it flies before us. The Cocoi Heron was originally described by Linnaeus in his 1766 10th edition of Systema Naturae. The origin of its species name is unknown, but may be related to the common name in Chile, cuca, which in turn denotes the bird's call note. It is more widely known in South America as garza mora, or black heron. The hind legs of the black-striped tufted capuchin have evolved to become very strong. This enables the monkey to stand up and walk bipedally, as can be seen here. Note, however, that bipedal walking is not the common mode of locomotion for this species. This female is trying to hang on to a meal and carry young at the same time. These monkeys were observed on the premises of the Biazena Hotel, where we were staying. We set up several camera traps in hopes of getting photographs and videos of the jaguar. Here we see our safari boat coming to check on one of those camera traps. This is a large pregnant female. She had just been in the water, probably swimming over from a nearby area. And she's coming to look at our camera trap. She came to inspect it just a half hour after we had set it. The blood on the sides of her body is not hers. It is likely from a prey item that she had been earlier interacting with. We can see that curiosity among felines is not limited to house cats. She certainly wants to carefully inspect this foreign object, the camera trap, which perhaps she perceives as having invaded her environment. This snail kite male is flying just above the river and looking for potential prey items. The plumage on this snail kite is clearly that of a juvenile. It has neither the light mottled pattern of the female nor the completely gray color of the male. This handsome black, white, and buff species is sometimes called the pied plover, perhaps a more appropriate name, given this species' small size, plover-like shape, and behavior of running short distances and stopping abruptly. As noted earlier, the capybara is an herbivorous animal that eats only plant matter in order to acquire all of the nutrients it needs. The diet of the capybara is mainly made up of grasses and aquatic plants, along with fruits and berries, and the occasional munch on soft tree bark. Despite spending a number of hours during the night grazing, the capybara is quite fussy, with around 75% of their diet involving between 3 and 6 different species of plant. Despite the large size and secretive aquatic nature of this rodent, their slow and gentle disposition makes them a rewarding meal for numerous hungry predators throughout their natural range. Wildcats, including jaguars, pumas, and ocelots, are the primary predators of the capybara, along with caimans and eagles that can hunt the younger ones from the sky above. The capybara is also one of the best sources of food for the world's heaviest snake, the anaconda. Very little information is available on the Rufescent Tiger Heron status throughout its range, and it is not often reported nor frequently seen on surveys. For example, only 85 birds were reported in the Winter Neotropical Water Bird Survey in southern South America for 1992. However, the Rufescent Tiger Heron is widespread, probably with good overall numbers, and locally numerous in some areas, such as Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and the Llanos of Venezuela and Argentina. The giant otter is classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List and listed on Appendix 1 of CITES. Up until the late 1970s, the giant otter was excessively hunted for its valuable fur, with its naturally curious disposition making it a particularly easy target. The fur trade is less of a threat today thanks to protective legislation, but illegal killing does still occur, often due to perceived conflict with fishermen. Some cubs are taken from the wild to be kept as pets, and usually die in the hands of inexperienced caretakers. Habitat loss and fragmentation and pollution are currently the major threats to the survival of the giant otter, with the areas in which they live destroyed and degraded by mining, logging, and damming. In 1990, the IUCN developed an action plan for the conservation of otter species in general. It recommended a number of conservation measures for the giant otter, including continuing studies on the ecology and requirements of this remarkable species, improving the management of existing protected areas in which it occurs, and stricter regulations to prevent the escape of toxic waste from factories, human settlements, and agriculture into the surrounding rivers and wetlands. Education campaigns are also required to raise awareness of the plight of this fascinating species. The charismatic giant otter also plays an important role in ecotourism that may provide some financial incentives for protective measures of this species. The life expectancy of the giant otter usually is around 12 years in the wild. In a zoo setup or in captivity, they can live up to 21 years. Out of the 4 members of the Lontra genus of otters, the giant otter shares its habitat with 3 of these, namely the marine otter or the sea otter, the southern river otter, and the Neotropical river otter. However, in spite of the overlap of habitat, researchers opine that the giant otters have evolved independently from the sea and river otters in the continent of South America. In this context, it must also be mentioned that giant river otter fossils dating back 3.5 million years have been found in the Midwestern United States. However, fossils of another otter species, the American river otter, only date back to about 1.9 million years ago. As we noted earlier, and as can be seen here, giant otters are gregarious and live in groups of 3 to 10 individuals. These groups are known as holts. Each of these holts lives within its own territory. The territories never coincide or overlap with territories that belong to other holts. They live in family groups that include otters of all types and ages, including females, males, parents, and their babies, or other young otters. The siblings that are older will even babysit the younger cubs, while the rest of the family is out hunting. Giant otters are noisy creatures with a complex repertoire of vocalizations. Till now, 9 distinct sounds have been identified, including quick barks like ha. They emit snorts when in danger. A snort can also suggest something related to immediate interest. Soft growls are signals of warning of forthcoming aggression. Newborn pups emit squeaks to gain attention, while the older otters will wail and whine during group activities. Giant otters are monogamous. Unlike most other species of otters, the giant otter pair makes a very strong bond. The female dominates the pair. Each family is made of one single breeding pair, while their older offspring will help their parents bring up the younger siblings. The young giant otters are born between August and October after the mother completes the gestation period of 65 to 72 days. The litter size of these otters is anything from 1 to 5. In each of the groups, only one female otter, the dominant female, gives birth to the young ones, which the entire holt helps taking care of. After birth, the juveniles spend the initial 2 months with their mother inside the den. As the adult otters move out in search of food, the older brothers and sisters take care of their younger siblings. However, when there is a necessity to change dens, the mature otters will carry the babies by the neck fur. Here we see roseate spoonbills and wood storks nesting in the same tree. Notice that the wood stork nest on the lower left-hand side has 2 chicks in it. Note that the wood stork can nest colonially with up to 25 nests in one tree. The nest itself is built by the male from sticks and green twigs collected from the colony and the surrounding area. The greenery usually starts to be added before the eggs are laid, but after the main structure of twigs is completed. An attractive heron, if slightly odd in appearance, the capped heron is a resident of South American forested swamps, river courses, and small pools. Although it seems adaptable to any habitat with water and has a wide distribution, it usually occurs only at low densities. Often seen flying along rivers or feeding in pools, the capped heron can be conspicuous and easily is identified by its silvery white body plumage, black cap, and striking blue face. In flight, it is best distinguished from other white herons by its small size and rapid, choppy flight style. Here we see a male snail kite observing the water for prey items. Here we see a snail kite patrolling the waters of the river near the bank. The black-collared hawk is seen roosting along the river's edge here. Here we see a juvenile Rufescent Tiger Heron. And on the left, we see a black-crowned night heron, which has just taken off. An amazing aspect of the giant otter whiskers, called vibrissae, is that these can be used in detection of water currents and water pressure changes, thus helping the giant otter to locate and hunt their prey more efficiently under the water. Commonly seen in the Pantanal, the green iguana is a large, arboreal, mostly herbivorous species of lizard of the genus Iguana. The Jabiru has an extremely large range and therefore does not approach the thresholds for being classified as vulnerable under the range size criterion of the IUCN.
Leave a couple, male and female, for all life. These are the male.
These South American monkeys are the loudest terrestrial animal in the Western Hemisphere and are usually the largest and most abundant primate wherever they live. Blonde at birth, males turn black as they mature, while females stay blonde their entire lives. It is notable that wood stork breeding is initiated by a drop in water level combined with an increased density of fish. This is because a decrease in the water level and an increased density of fish allows for an adequate amount of food for the nestlings. This can occur at any time between November and August. Because of their large size and swimming ability, the giant otters, members of the weasel family, can compete successfully for fish with other local animals, including jaguars and black caimans. Though there is not much recorded evidence about the natural predation of giant otters, experts have suggested that cougars, jaguars, and anacondas can pose a threat to these creatures. However, young pups are more susceptible to such threats, though at times fishes such as electric eels, groups of piranhas, and stingrays may also prove fatal. Here we see otters entering their den.
Hole, the nest. The otters, so they have the nest in the hole.
It's different exits. Just one exit.
Different.
Yes,
Here we see wood storks circling above. Although Jabiru eggs may be preyed upon by raccoons and other storks, there is no known predator of adult Jabirus. New World vultures, including the black vultures seen here, forage by detecting the scent of ethyl mercaptan, a gas produced by initial decay of dead animals. Like the common caiman, Caiman crocodilus, the Yacare Caiman is able to breed relatively quickly in comparison to other species of crocodilians. This has helped to reduce the effects of hunting pressure. The Yacare Caiman main diet consists of aquatic invertebrates, particularly snails, and vertebrates such as fish with the occasional snake. Despite their perhaps menacing appearance, Yacare Caiman pose little threat to human beings. With no predators to compete with, the jaguar exists at the top of the food chain in its habitat. The physical makeup of the jaguar is such that stalking and ambushing prey is the preferred and more effective means of survival. The jaguar's ambushing abilities are considered nearly peerless in the animal kingdom by both indigenous people and field researchers. Its exceptionally powerful jaw structure gives the jaguar the strongest bite force of all of the big cats, enabling it to penetrate armored reptile shells as well as the hardened skulls of other larger animals. Unlike other cats, the jaguar can kill with a fatal bite between the ears, directly into the brain. Such an ambush may include leaping into the water after prey, as the jaguar is quite capable of carrying a large kill while swimming. Its strength is such that carcasses as large as a heifer can be hauled up a tree to avoid flood levels. In the food chain, the jaguar plays a vital part in stabilizing ecosystems and keeping in check the populations of animals within its range upon which this adept hunter depends on for its survival. Jaguars are known to eat armadillos, birds, cattle, crocodiles, deer, eggs, fish, frogs, heifers, horses, mice and other rodents, monkeys, peccary, sloths, snakes, tapirs, turtles, and anything else they can catch, up to 87 different species of animal and reptile food sources. Reportedly, while hunting horses, a jaguar may leap onto their back, place one paw on the muzzle and another on the nape, and then twist, dislocating the neck. With smaller prey, such as monkeys or wild dogs, a paw swipe to the skull may be sufficient to kill the prey item. Whereas the jaguar is near to being completely gone from the United States, it still exists in Mexico, Central and South America, though it is now extinct in El Salvador and Uruguay. Elsewhere, jaguar populations are rapidly declining. The big cat is considered near threatened by the International Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, meaning it may be threatened with extinction in the near future. Loss and fragmentation of habitat is a major threat to the jaguar. International trade involving jaguars or their parts is illegal, but the cat is still frequently killed by ranchers and farmers in South America attempting to prevent jaguars hunting their livestock. And poaching hasn't stopped, nor is it prohibited in every country. With regard to jaguar reproduction, we can note that in the tropics, the mating season occurs year-round. Gestation is 90 to 110 days, and 1 to 4 kittens are born per litter. The kittens stay with the mother from 1 to 1.5 years. And now we have reached our conclusion of the wildlife of the Pantanal. It is hoped that the remarkable diversity of species contained in this land will be preserved for many generations to come. Certainly, it would be a great tragedy if future generations could not visit this land and marvel at its remarkable biodiversity.